If you have a dog that reacts to other dogs, I want to give you 4 things you can start doing straight away. But please, reach out to a trainer who genuinely understands reactivity. These are things you can start implementing while you're waiting for your trainer to slot you into their diary. Now, before we start as well, this is not a training plan. I'm not suggesting you do these things for the rest of your dog's life. This is about giving you some practical management you can implement right now while you get the right support. So hopefully you feel more confident handling the types of situations that your dog reacts to. So, number 1, your dog is already barking, lunging, exploding. Sometimes we get so worried about what everybody around us is thinking, when usually they're probably not really thinking anything at all. What I need you to do in that moment is to be confident about the situation and put your focus on your dog. If you're holding them back, waving food in front of their nose when they cannot take it, I am going to say stop. Because their internal system has already pushed eating and digesting right down the priority list. Food is no longer important. The situation over there is to the dog. So we've got 2 options here. Create space or reduce the visual. Now, if you have the opportunity to create space, what I want you to do is slide your hand down the lead so you've got control. Step in and calmly move your dog away. Your dog might not be calm, but you can be. And practice this when you don't need it. Practice moving your dog away when nothing is happening. So that movement is already familiar when you do need it. Practice for the events, not in them. I'll show you some examples of these exercises later on. Now, if you don't have the opportunity to create space, we can use the environment. What have you got that can take away or reduce that visual? A parked car, a bush, a wall. Dogs can absolutely react to smells and sounds as well, but if the trigger is visual, reducing that visual can reduce some of the intensity and make the situation a little easier for you and your dog. Now, movement is key here. Once you've created that space or reduced the visual, keep your dog moving. Even if you only have a small area, we can walk in figure of 8 or oval shapes. Movement can help them transition out of that highly activated state that they have gone into. Then you watch recovery. When can they take food again? When can they engage with you and process their environment? Food becomes really useful information here. If they still can't take it, they may need more recovery time. Sometimes the first improvement you see in a reactive dog isn't a reduced reaction, it's a quicker recovery afterwards, and that matters. Now, number 2, you spot the trigger first and you've actually got some distance. Rather than immediately stopping and feeding your dog before they've even noticed it, think about how can you use that distance better. Let your dog notice the trigger, the other dog. They may be in what we call the stretch zone. They've seen it, they're feeling some emotion, but they're still able to think and respond. You've got enough distance that they've still got that. Now, if you have good lead communication or a strong response, a reflex to their name, or a well-established conditioned marker cue that creates disengagement, use it. Your dog sees the other dog, the trigger. You can use one of those communication tools, they disengage, and then you move away. You create that space, and then you follow up with the food. Now you've got some learning happening. Your dog has experienced the trigger, the visual of the other dog, felt some emotion, but their internal state hasn't had the opportunity to build into that explosion. They've practiced seeing the trigger, disengaging and moving away. No reaction needed. Number 3, Practice movement at home. Build something your dog really enjoys that involves moving. It could be a big game of tug, an active food game, side to side, or another strong movement pattern. I'm not saying wave a tug at your dog who's exploding. Practice somewhere easy at first, so when you work with your trainer, you've already started building another potential coping strategy for your dog. And number 4, think about where you're walking. If you know your dog struggles around other dogs, a narrow path where you have nowhere simply to go, it probably is not the right environment just now. Choose routes where you can cross the road, change direction, create distance, or use the environment as a visual barrier. Again, that's management. It isn't your forever training plan. And remember, reactive behaviour has a function. It may make your dog feel better in that moment and in that situation. And different dogs react for different reasons. That's why something that works brilliantly for one may not be right for your dog. So if you've been working on reactivity for months without progress, please reach out to somebody who genuinely understands reactivity. Not for a quick fix, but for meaningful progress within an appropriate and ethical timescale. So not months and months and months. Until then, these 4 things can give you somewhere to start. Create space or reduce the visual and help them recover. Use distance to create better learning opportunities. Practice strong movement patterns before you need them, and choose an environment that gives both of you options. In this video, you see me using the environment to create a visual block, which will help reduce intensity of the visual. And you see how I keep the dog moving, and movement also will help your dog stay regulated internally. The one thing you do need to look out for is making sure that the dog is not reacting, and this is an appropriate method to be using in that moment. When you have distance, what we can do is use reflex to name, a condition marker, cue, or lead communication to turn the dog and move in the opposite direction. This is the A to B exercise, so the first thing I do is start by sliding my hand down the lead until the dog feels the tension. When the dog feels the tension, I use my marker cue and then follow it up with a positive consequence of food. Then I'm going to add in the turn. Slide my hand down the lead, step into my dog, turn, and use my marker cue as soon as we've both done the 180. So I'm just going to show you that one more time. But if you have a pressure sensitive dog, you can turn them round the other way, which I'm just going to show you now. Now, while I'm showing you the about turn, we're going to talk about delayed reinforcement. So the next step is going to be delayed reinforcement, where we use our marker cue, but we don't follow up immediately with the reward. So you see I use my marker cue and then I move away and I follow up with the reinforcement about 5 to 10 steps away. So this helps you create distance. So marker cue happens, move and reward.